Hi, I'm Nick, and I run Amazon Bound, where we help talented job seekers to interview effectively with Amazon and other companies that practice behavioral interviewing techniques. Today, I will talk about the SDE, the Software Development Engineering interview with Amazon, how you can prepare for it, and how you can perform highly during your SDE interview with Amazon. You should expect to hear two types of questions during your SDE interview. One are behavioral questions and two are technical questions. Let's start with the behavioral questions first. The behavioral questions are going to be what makes or breaks your Amazon interview. I would expect 70% plus of your interview with Amazon to be comprised by behavioral questions. Behavioral questions are questions along the lines of, tell me a time you did X, tell me a case you did Y, and in response, you should describe a professional accomplishment or professional failure from your career and unpack that accomplishment or failure in the STAR/SOAR methodology. You should prepare a sufficient number of those accomplishments and failures ahead of time and be ready to describe them during the interview without repeating them. So that takes care of the behavioral part of your engineering interview. The second type of questions you will hear are technical questions. Technical questions in kind generally fall into three subcategories. One, coding questions. Two, system design questions. Three, computer science foundational questions. Let's start with coding. For your coding questions, you are expected to write code. You will start out by writing the code logically on a function by function basis, and then if asked, you should convert it to working code using code syntax, so on and so forth. Also, when writing code, I would not worry about being highly proficient in any one particular language. Amazon would likely look past that. They would want to evaluate your capability to write functioning code in pretty much the language of your choice. And then if you have those foundational principles in place, they will teach you whichever specific syntax and code they want you to know. Lastly, depending on if you're interviewing for an SDE, Software Development Engineer, or for an SDM, Software Development Manager position, you will likely get a varying amount of coding technical questions. If you're going for an SDE role, you're definitely going to get coding questions to either write code or debug code in the language of your choice. But if you are interviewing for an SDM position, you might not even be asked to write code. You might be asked to debug code, maybe, but Amazon is going to expect that you will lean on your engineers in your team to deliver that coding output. And Amazon is going to focus on the other parts of the technical interview instead. What are those two other parts? As I mentioned, system design and CS foundations. Let's talk about system design next. In your technical system design questions, you will be asked to architect a system that should be generally robust in dealing with complex input-output characteristics. For example, you could be asked to design a system that competes with Airbnb or Netflix or Uber or other systems of that kind of scale that perform similar type of functions. When you design a system, you should make sure that you step back, you architect the system first, take care of all the racing horses and all the building blocks. And then once those are laid out, you should be ready to go into any one of those building blocks in sufficient amount of depth, depending on where the interviewer wants to take the conversation next. And the third part of your technical interview is likely going to touch on things like databases, algorithms, and other basic CS components, such as, breadth first search, depth first search, so on and so forth. So those are the three types of technical questions you can expect to hear during an Amazon engineering interview. How do you get ready for these questions? A good way to prepare is to look for prior questions that Amazon has asked in similar interviews. You can find these questions hopefully with their corresponding answers if you look on Google or Quora or Glassdoor. I also encourage you to check out a service called preamp.com. It's a completely free service, which will enable you to practice in live one-on-one peer-to-peer interviews with other folks like you online. Preamp will determine your level of technical competency and match you with other similar folks online for live peer-to-peer technical interviews. So to recap, In your SDE interview, you should expect to hear behavioral questions and technical questions. The best way to get ready for your behavioral questions is to prepare your professional accomplishments and failures ahead of time and be ready to discuss them in the STAR/SOAR format. A good way to prepare for the technical questions would be to study coding questions, system design questions, and CS foundational questions. You can use resources such as Google Search, Quora, Glassdoor, or Pramp.com to prepare for your technical engineering interview with Amazon. I hope this has been helpful. If it is, please subscribe to this channel and ask us any other questions you have, or check out our website at amazonbound.today. Thanks for watching. Best of luck with the Amazon engineering interview. You got this. Bye.